You mean, huh? Let us finish off question 4, which is the bank reconciliation. 4.1 says that we need to indicate whether the following statements are true or false. You need to write only true or false next to the question number. The first one says that a debit card fees form part of bank charges. Is that true or false? It is true. Interest on overdraft is recorded in the cash receipts journal. That is false because interest on overdraft is an expense. Interest expense is paid out, and an overdraft is a liability. Any interest that goes with a liability will be interest expense, and we need to pay it. And the fact that we need to pay it, it will be recorded in the cash payments and not the cash receipts. Only interest on favorable bank balance will be recorded in the cash receipts. A debit balance on the bank statement reflects a favorable balance. Please note that to us, the bank is an asset. When we put money into the bank, we debit bank. When we take money from our bank account, we credit bank. To us, the bank is an asset. But to the bank, we are a liability. When we deposit money to them, they credit our account. When we take money out of our account, they debit our account. And in our books, we do the opposite. In their books, whatever we debit, they credit. Whatever we credit, they debit in their books because to them, we are a liability. To us, they are an asset. And that is because the money that you put into the bank, it's yours. So the bank owes you that money. And the fact that the bank owes you, it means to the bank, you are a liability. And that's why they charge you things like your debit card fee. That's how they make money. They just charge you bank charges. So definitely 4.1.3 is false. All right. Now, let's start our comparison. Before we start our comparison, you need to think about what I just said. When I said to the bank, we are a liability, but to us, the bank is an asset. Now, mistakes that are made by the bank, we correct them in the bank reconciliation statement. Those are the mistakes that are made by the bank. Mistakes that are made by us, we correct them either in the cash receipts journal or in the cash payments journal. If we have an outstanding payment or outstanding deposit in the previous month's bank reconciliation, we need to compare that to the current month's bank statement. If it still does not reflect in the current month's bank statement, we still put it in the bank reconciliation statement. Unless the bank tells us that we are the ones that made a mistake. And if we make a mistake, we only can correct it in two books, which is the cash receipts journal or the cash payments journal. And when you prepare the bank reconciliation statement, remember you are preparing it as though you are the bank. So when we deposit money into the bank will credit our account. So deposits will be recorded on the credit side in the bank reconciliation statements, and the payments will be recorded on the debit side of the bank reconciliation statement because we are preparing it as though we are the bank. Now, in my previous video, when I spoke about cash budget, I spoke about corruption and how everyone is corrupt and they just corrupt to the core. They are so corrupt they even steal everything instead of just taking a small percentage. Like they don't care who sees it. And I remember we used to do this in auditing. One of the things that we actually used the bank reconciliation statement as an internal control measure because it helps us determine missing payments or payments that were made to wrong accounts or money that was stolen. And I get to ask, do municipalities or government entities prepare the bank reconciliation statement? If they do, how come corruption is not detected? And I know we have Auditor General, which has done a good job, but once the Auditor General finds these mistakes, why aren't people paying for them? Why aren't they going to jail? Why aren't they paying back the money that they stole from the state? And when they asked us at varsity when I was still doing auditing, how would you audit money? How do you make sure that the money that you have in your bank account is correct? And one of the things that you needed to do is to talk about the bank reconciliation statement. You prepare the bank reconciliation statement. And whoever prepares the bank reconciliation statement, it mustn't be the same person that received the bank statement. It mustn't be the same person that prepared the cash books. When I talk about the cash books, we're talking about petty cash journal, CRJ, and CPJ. It mustn't be the same person. And the auditors as well, when they need to ensure that they have the correct value in the bank account of the business, they need to prepare the bank reconciliation statement. It's one of the most important audit procedures that we need to take to make sure that we detect any fraud. Cash is the most, uh, um, we say it's the most liquid asset and it's the most easy to steal asset. It's so easy to steal uh, money. But question is, we know that it's easy to steal money. Do we have proper internal controls in place to make sure that money is not stolen? Do we? Um, Now the bank reconciliation, the information provided relates to surprise stores. We are surprise stores. The business is owned by Tembazwani. I know that name. Is it a Sundowns player? Temba receives the official bank statement on the 26th day of each month. He uses this to prepare the bank reconciliation statement. EFTs are renumbered according to date order. Now, what does EFT stand for? That's a good question, isn't it? Now, on 1 July 2022, the bank account in the general ledger reflected a favorable balance of 53,800. Actually, can use that. I remember seeing a question that wanted us to prepare the bank balance. So I will just put that there. Okay, is the opening balance in my bank account. That's what I've got in my bank account. If it was on the credit side, I was going to put it in brackets. Please note that if it's on the credit side of the bank statement, it means that it's a favorable balance. If it's on the debit side of the bank statement, it's an unfavorable balance. If it's on the debit side of our bank account, it's a favorable balance. If it's on the credit side of our bank account, it's an unfavorable balance. So this is favorable. That's why we are showing it without brackets. We will add it with the total that comes from the cash receipts and minus it with the total that comes from the cash payments. You did this in grade 9, right? It should be easy for you. Um, let's move on. Then they say the bank reconciliation statement prepared on 30 June 2022 showed the following outstanding deposits and EFTs. So these are deposits that were not in the June bank statement. and the EFTs that were not in the June bank statement. So we need to compare them to July bank statement. If they're in the July bank statement, we are going to tick it. But we noticed this as we compared them to the July bank statement. The first thing we noticed is that the deposit on the 15th of June 2022 appeared in the bank statement as 15,500 and not 19,500. That means the amount that we took out of our bank account, that we put into our bank account is less than what we actually put into our bank account. So we didn't make a deposit of 19,500. We made a deposit of 15,500. And that's when we realized probably the cashier took the other amount and only deposited the 15,500. So the part that we did not deposit, remember all the deposits are recorded in the cash receipts journal. The part that we did not deposit, which is the difference between the two, we are going to put it in the cash payments journal so that it reduces that 19,500 that's already added to our bank account. Now, I'm going to record that in my cash payments journal, and I will record the difference between 19,500 and 15,500, and that difference will be 4,000. I'm trying to reduce that 19,500 that was recorded in the CRJ. It needs to be reduced by 4,000 so that it goes to 15,500. So the bank statement was correct. We are the ones that made a mistake. That's why when we make a mistake, we either correct it in the cash payments journal or we correct it in the cash receipts journal, which is what we have just done. And then it says that EFT 297 of 9,600 was correctly reflected as 6,900 on the July bank statement. So the bank statement was correct. We are the ones that are wrong. So we are saying we made a payment of 9,600. Wow. So that money basically is what we're saying we paid, but we only paid 6,900. So we overpaid basically. We over reduced our bank account when actually the bank only reduced our bank account by 6,900. So we need to add back the difference. And for us to add back the difference, we'll have to record the difference in the cash receipts journal. You'll find the difference between 9,600 and 6,900, and then you'll put it in the cash receipts journal, and that will be 2,700. If the mistake was done by the bank, was made by the bank, we were going to record it in the bank reconciliation statement, but the mistake was done by us. That's why we record it in the cash receipts journal. And then obviously they said other outstanding amounts from the previous month appeared in the July bank statement. That's why I'm taking them off. All right, now we are given the totals. I've already entered the totals in my cash payments journal and my cash receipts journal. And they say in the following items on the July bank statement must still be recorded. So these are in the July bank statement. So to record them, it's either we record them in the CPJ or we record them in the CRJ. A debit card payment of 1,400 for petrol for the business vehicle. Temba neglected to submit the transaction document to the bookkeeper. So that will be recorded in the cash payments journal as such. Number 2, the direct deposit received from Data D. Singwani. which is 5,800 in settlement of his account of 6,000. You only focus on the money that we received. We didn't receive 6,000, guys. We only received 5,800. And that 5,800 was a direct deposit. So we wouldn't have known about it unless we got a notification. We'll only know about it when we receive the bank statement, which is what we have. It came into our bank account. So in the bank statement, it was recorded on the credit side. And that's why we will record it in the cash receipts journal, because cash receipts journal will be on the debit side of your bank. The debit of the bank will be compared to the credit of the bank statement, and that's why we record this in the cash receipts journal. Number 3, a debit order to Palm Insurance for the business insurance, which is 1,800. So a debit order goes out of your bank account, right? And it was paid to insurers. So we are going to put it in the cash payments journal. So you agreed with the supplier that the money will be taken straight from your bank account, and you notify your bank, and that's what happened where the insurance company took money from your bank account. And then we've got a direct deposit of 72,000 from Unitech College. This is an error on the statements as it does not apply to Surprise Store, so it does not apply to us. The bank was notified of this error. It looks like a person that prepared this question is a Sundowns fan. Because we have Surprise Muriri there, we also have Tembazwani there. Now, what we're going to do here is that direct deposit was not for us. So the bank is the one that made the error. And the fact that the bank made the error, it means that it will be recorded in the bank reconciliation statement. Normally, we'll start with the balance as per the bank statement, which is what we don't have. And then we'll credit outstanding deposit and so on. I'll come back to this. I'll have to come back to this. Okay. Just write it on the side that amount must be recorded in the bank reconciliation statement, just that I don't forget. Bank charges will be recorded in the CPJ. We will only know about bank charges when we receive the bank statement. That's why we'll record them in the CPJ. And the amount for bank charges was, let me just check, it was 825 if I'm not mistaken, right? And then we've got interest on savings, which is 260, that goes to the CRJ, interest and on savings account. And I missed that 1,800. Did I record it? Yes, I did. I recorded basically everything. Then they say entries in the cash journals after the 26th. This is after we received the bank statement. So these entries were not in the bank statement. So we need to record them. So basically all of this will be recorded in the bank reconciliation statement. That deposit, which is 29,500, will be recorded on the credit side of your bank reconciliation statement as credit outstanding deposit, and all the EFT payments that are outstanding will be recorded on the debit side of our bank statement. Payments from our bank account, the bank will debit them because it reduces what the bank owes us, okay? And that is why we are going to debit those two EFTs, but I'm also going to debit the 72,000 that was incorrectly credited to our account, and then we debit all the outstanding payments. Then you will put your bank balance, but I can't put in my bank balance until I've calculated my total bank balance. And for me to calculate my total bank balance, I need to sort this one out. Get the totals here. The cash receipts will be recorded on the debit side of my bank account, and the payments will be recorded on the credit side of my bank account. So the debit will be pluses and the credit will be minus. So the new bank balance will be 20,520. That 20,520, we are going, because it's on the debit side, we are going to write it in the bank reconciliation statement as a debit balance as per bank account. And that debit balance as per bank account will be 20,520. Get the total and you realize that the debit side is greater than the credit side. So we've got the balances must be the same. So the difference on the credit side will be the balances per the bank statement, which will be 71,020 Rand. That's it with paper 2 of the November DBE paper. Check out the next videos where we will be going through paper 1. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like. If you have any question that you'd like me to do, just drop it under the comment section and let me know. Don't forget to like, ask questions, and let everybody know about this channel. And please don't forget to subscribe. Hotom.